we are delving farther into the book Will I Ever Be Good Enough? And I'm here with Mrs. Snarky.
Howdy, y'all. Join us as we sail into the abyss.
Yes, the abyss that stares back at you after a while, and then you gotta deal with that. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, we're doing chapter 11 today, a part of and apart from, and it's separating yourself from your mom, which sounds really easy. Like, it sounds like a no-brainer to people who weren't raised in this sort of situation. Like, well, of course I'm not my mom. But really, like, we were just viewed as extensions of our mother.
Yeah.
And we were what she wanted us to be, which, you know, didn't necessarily line up with what we wanted.
We were born to serve and to be our moms as she lived vicariously through us.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Pretty much. That's the whole gist of it, which I know so many people understand, especially in our chat.
Oh yeah.
Do you wanna show yourself?
I'm Mrs. Snarky. I do have a channel. It's crickets right now, and I keep saying I'm gonna make something, but I don't. I'm sorry, y'all. It's been a little rough lately, and I haven't felt too creative. So there's that. But I am on Maddie's channel.
Godless Iowan, I think.
Yeah, is it Godless Iowan? We make the same joke every week, and Maddie absolutely.
Oh, they love it. Yeah.
Oh yes, this is their favorite joke.
Yep.
But yeah, on our last nerve Fridays at 7 p.m. Central. So there's that, and that's about all. In this, we have this show. That's about all the energy that I've had to devote to YouTube at all. And I'm really sorry, but I do have a channel. You can watch my old stuff. I've got plenty of old videos there if you haven't seen them all. Yeah, and I'm buy my art.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of Mrs. Snarky's links are in the description. So we have like Twitter and YouTube and Redbubble, which is where you can buy her art. And there's one more, and I can't think of it. Twitter, YouTube, Redbubble.
Yeah, I've got Teespring.
Teespring, that's it.
Teespring.
But yeah, they're all down in the description, so check them out.
So yeah.
Yeah, she starts out with a quote. Surprise.
What? She never does that. Oh. Yeah.
Shocker. Because if everyone just turns out like their mother, then what's the rat's ass point? Said by Elizabeth Strout in Amy and Isabel. To become authentic and whole, this is the ultimate goal in recovering from a narcissistic mother. The next step for you to take toward this is to separate psychologically from mother as an adult so that you can grow your own internal emotional psyche. For when you grow your own internal emotional being, you become resilient and strong. You can stand on your own. You can sustain yourself in the face of maternal deprivation, bear up under any negative litanies from your mother, and withstand criticism from anyone in the external environment. You will become a woman who can be around your mother and be away from her, and you will remain whole in both situations. This is the ability to be a part of and apart from at the same time, all while keeping in steady access to a solid sense of self. And yeah, the whole, like, being whole around mom, like, I never felt that way. Ever.
I did whenever I would stand up to her. Which... I was very rebellious and not afraid of a fight. And if you follow me on Twitter, you probably already know that. But yeah, we would have disagreements, and it was basically a weekly ritual that we would have a big fight. And that was me being an individual standing their ground.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it was really, I didn't realize how important it was until I got older. But that was me taking a stand and saying, look, I'm different than you. I think differently than you. And I feel differently than you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a really important process to go through. But with my mom, it was such a struggle. You know, if we disagreed on something, it was a huge fight. Huge.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't no little deal.
It never
Yeah.
was it? Like, it didn't matter if the subject was important or not.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of it was her way of trying to dissuade me from having my own opinions,
Mm.
because the consequence of that is big fight, which, like, bitch, do you even know me? Like, you think I'm afraid of a fight? Cool. Like, we haven't met, have we? But yeah, there are some instances where it's like I still felt tethered to not really how she thought, but the messages that she ingrained within me from early on.
Mm.
And that is the part that I've really struggled with in terms of, you know, therapy and whatnot. So she goes on to talk about why it's important to be a separate person from your mother and why it's imperative for your mental health. She says individuation, a normal part of development, begins at about age 2 when the child begins to say no and mine, and continues throughout life as the child matures, develops her own wants, needs, and desires, and deliberately breaks away from her parents to form a healthy sense of self. Healthy parents allow this to happen gradually and naturally. And they talk about the terrible twos and all of that, which they're excruciating. Okay, when you have a child that's just no 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 all the time, which is basically it,
Mm-hmm.
and all the fighting and all the uproar, so to speak. But it is a very important process, and again, this happens gradually, but it also happens in two very distinct phases of growth. It happens in the terrible twos, threes, and it happens again during puberty.
Mm-hmm.
So, and both of these stages are very important for childhood development. Um, but yes, the individuation process is stunted for children of a narcissistic mother because she has either engulfed or ignored them. An ignored child does not get her emotional needs met and cannot work on self and separation because she is still trying to fill up her own tank with mother's love. She keeps trying to merge with her mother like a small infant, trying to get mother's approval and attention. Which, yeah, that's definitely a thing. And we've talked about before how when you don't receive that love and that, you know, pride from your mother, when you feel like you're just constantly trying to gain her approval and get nothing, in fact all you get is just more critique,
Mm-hmm.
then it, you feel like you have this huge void in your life. An engulfed child is discouraged from seeing herself as separate from her mother and from having individual needs, desires, thoughts, or feelings. Neither daughter's emotional needs are met, and each has difficulty developing a sense of self. If you've grappled with issues of control of your own life and feelings, or you can't enjoy your successes, are struggling, like most daughters of narcissistic mothers, to separate and individuate, you are probably still searching for and developing the whole you. And this is kind of, this reminds me of the notion of the ship of Theseus, which is the concept of if you took apart a ship just board by board, piece by piece, and replaced it, by the time every piece is replaced, is it still the same ship?
Right.
And this is kind of the process that you have to go through when you're dealing with not getting these emotional needs met. And in some cases, even just physical needs, depending upon just how abusive your narcissistic mother was.
Yeah.
But yeah, finding who you are as a whole is honestly, it's a process that every individual goes through. But for those who are raised by narcissists or abusive parents, it's even more of a struggle because it's you developed in a space where it was just turmoil and it was neglect. And when you don't have the kind of foundation that is required to feel whole and to deal with this, the problems and stressors of everyday life in a way that is healthy and balanced, then your ship will never feel whole. You'll never really know until you go through this piece by piece process of rebuilding that ship, or just building it to begin with, fixing the parts where there's a hole, there's something missing. And when you're raised by a narcissistic mother, what is definitely missing is you, because most of your life you were raised you were molded to be a servant or extension of mom. And that is not who you are. That is how you identify, because you were you were conditioned to be as such.
Right.
So yeah.
Yep, you are yourself, and it is hard to like try and dig yourself out of that and figure out who you really are once you start on that journey of who am I without her, like completely disregarding her. What type of person I am? What do I like? What do I dislike? What do I want to do? What do I need to do?
Right. And a major part of that is driving your mother crazy, right? When you're terrible twos, and when you're going through that teenage stage of don't go to my room, leave me alone, don't go through my phone, those kind of, privacy, especially when you're a teenager, is really important, because that's where you're able to think and develop and become that individual. So yeah. And at the end of this kind of section here, she says something that is very important. She says, you have to heal in order to become whole. So that feeling, that void that I was talking about before, has to be healed. And the way that you do that is to find yourself, which is so easy, right?
Right.
But being able to make choices and, be an adult and do things and give yourself credit for success, and have it balanced out with critiques of learning from mistakes and things like that, that is a very important part of the process.
Totally. It really is.
Also taking the time and effort to do whatever it takes to heal yourself is in itself a very important step to individualization.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. But one portion that I have highlighted here that I thought was really revealing and I could totally identify with was these two little paragraphs here. Years ago, in times of stress, I would unconsciously recite the words, "Oh, mommy." Thank goodness that impulse is gone. But I do remember how infantile and orphaned I felt. It makes me smile to write this today simply because I can acknowledge this and be grateful that I've grown beyond it. Part of separating from your mother and childhood is ridding yourself of negative self talk, such as, I'm not good enough, I'm unlovable, and very importantly, I can't trust myself. I have this highlighted and circled and underlined because remember when I was talking about choices? That plays into this. When you're an adult, you have to make choices, some of them easy, some of them hard. You know, do I like Cheetos is a easy choice, right? But where should I live? And who should I marry? And should I have kids? These are difficult decisions that you have to be able to sort through. And in order to sort through them, you have to trust yourself and your own ability to do these things. And if you're thinking that you're not smart, you're not good enough, and blah, 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 and that you can't trust yourself and your own judgment, then that's going to lead to a lot of problems.
Yeah, I have, especially after the next two sentences, because you have internalized these messages, they speak to you now as your mother once did. Decide for yourself what those messages say, block them out, and override them. And that is something I, like, seriously still struggle with. Like, that voice just goes off whenever, wherever, and, like, my whole sense of self-worth being placed on, like, career or family or, you know, education especially, and being disabled, and I need to reframe that, and I need to, you know, realize that I do help others. It's just not in, like, a working or career sort of way. I'm not unlovable. There are tons of people out there who care about me.
Me.
Thank you for that. And, like, to trust myself instead of being so hard on myself. You know,
Right.
when that little voice in me goes, yay, I did a thing, to not follow that up with, yeah, but it wasn't a big deal.
You said hard on.
Gay.
Anyway. But yeah, that's a very important part of the process, of the healing process, is being able to challenge those negative internalized messages, because they're automatic, right? After you've been told it so much, it just pops up automatically. So you have to be able to be mindful enough to recognize it and to challenge it with the truth. Because your mom telling you that you were not lovable is fucking untrue. Just plain and simple. And you can trust yourself. You can. You have the ability to make decisions. And you do help people, right? Just doing this series helps people.
Yes.
You know, people have more needs than, you know, can you fetch me some ice water? You know, there are needs that go beyond just physical needs. There's intellectual and emotional needs as well that can be by anyone that has the capacity. Obviously, our mothers didn't. And so now we have to be able to trust ourselves to go through the process of healing. And I think that this is kind of step one, you know, is the honesty and the trust.
Yeah.
They are tethered together. So
definitely. Yeah. And to, like you said, the honesty and the trust, like, what is the truth? And there's an exercise in this chapter that, oh geez, I'm causing an earthquake again. That goes over like what is the truth and define the truth as opposed to believing what your mother said. And it's hard, but like it's nice to have that love or acceptance, or I'm not sure what to call it, but that person that just like has your back, and to have your own back and to rely on that.
Yes, definitely. Having this realization is, when I first had it, my eyes became a waterfall, right? Because it never had dawned on me that I could be this person that trusts and loves myself enough to look at this and fix it and heal from it. You know, obviously I'm not going to be able to fix everything, but if I'm honest with myself, I can go a long way. I'm not a broken person. You know?
Exactly.
So, she says, as you do this process, as you decide for yourself what those messages say, block them out and override them. As you do this, you separate in a healthy way from your dysfunctional mother and her self-defeating belief system. You will recognize yourself as an individual woman. And that is good stuff. Independence, freedom.
Yeah, freedom.
Oh. Anyway.
The next section, what does separation mean exactly? Psychological literature explains separation, individuation, as defining a sense of self and as differentiation. Every person has to undertake individuation from her family of origin to grow up fully. Psychological separation is an internal process and has nothing to do with geographically separating from your mother or family of origin. According to renowned family therapist Dr. Murray Bowen, an adult can regard herself to be further along with her individuation process the more she, number one, becomes less emotionally reactive to the family dynamics, number two, becomes more objective in observing the family dynamics, and number three, becomes aware of the myths, images, distortions, and triangles that she had been blind to while growing up. As you undergo the acceptance and grief processes in the previous chapter, you can undertake these steps successfully. As Bowen states, the person who acquires a little ability at becoming an observer and at controlling some of his emotional reactiveness acquires an ability that is useful for life in all kinds of emotional snarls. Most of the time, he can live his life reacting with appropriate and natural emotional responses, but with the knowledge that at any time he can back out of the situation, slow down his reactiveness, and make observations that help him control himself and the situation.
That is so very super stoic. And if you don't know about philosophical stoicism, you can go to my channel and watch the videos that I've done on it, especially in terms of the dichotomy of control. You have to be able to observe, and you have to be able to differentiate between the things you can and can't control. You might not be able to control your circumstances, but you can control your reaction to them. Instead of going on autopilot, challenge the beliefs that are steering, okay? And notice them. And decide how you're going to react. You know, and you can control that. You can.
Yeah.
The hell with what Sam Harris says. Anyway.
Yeah, like, I have a note here, like, while I'm a lot better at this, I'm still really emotionally reactive, and I want to change that and distance myself, and all I can do is just try working on it each time it comes up and strive for, you know, the individuation that Bowen describes. But I get so caught up in things and just automatically blame myself for situations, and then it just goes from there. And I think the CBT that I've done. Oh, thank you, computer, for making noises. That's cool.
You can't control that.
No. I mean, I'm sure I can. I can find a setting in here somewhere, but But yeah, I think CBT helps with that, and like trying to parse out, okay, what is rational about this? Like, what is rational or irrational? Because 9 times out of 10, what I'm thinking is highly irrational.
Oh yeah.
And doesn't deal with facts.
Oh yeah, because we're highly prone to all kinds of cognitive pitfalls, right? We tend to overgeneralize. We tend to cling to those messages that were negative that our parents told us over and over again, and we tend to catastrophize things. Like, if I'm late to work, I'm gonna be fired, not be able to pay my bills, and I'm gonna be homeless. That would be a catastrophic way of viewing, say, like your alarm not going off and you being late. That might not necessarily be the case. So let's stay away from the alarmist way of thinking and analyze it and just face it as it comes. Really what it boils down to is not just thinking of it as, the rational way of reacting to things, but how can I react to this in the best way possible?
Right. Yeah, and one thing that's really helped with that whole catastrophizing, for me anyways, my therapist suggested, okay, when a what if question comes up, don't ignore it, but follow it.
Yes.
What if I lose my job? Okay, well, what if? What can we do in that situation? And be like, well, I can do A, B, or C. I can, and to come up with solutions, and eventually that what if gets less powerful. It gets less scary because you have a plan for what if this worst thing happens.
Right.
I can still make it out.
Right, and that's what the Stoics would call negative meditation, as thinking about and contemplating the worst case scenario. Like, okay, well, what if I get ill? Or what if I, lose my job? Think about that, and what's the worst that could happen? And what's the best that can happen? And what's the best way to react or not react? And it's a very powerful way of contemplating life and circumstance. It makes you strong. It makes adults out of us. And that's kind of the core of this chapter, is being that individual adult and learning to trust yourself and challenge things, because it's difficult, right? It's like going to the gym, which, believe it or not, I've done before. That first day is tough, and you're sore, and you're in pain. You're gonna be in pain for a while, but after a couple of weeks, it's nothing. It's just, and you actually find that you're having a good time and you're happy. So, yeah. I don't recommend going to the gym right now because, the whole COVID thing. Maybe get a home gym or something. I don't. Yeah. But it is a lot like exercising your mental muscles, your emotional muscles.
Yeah, you build up an endurance, and that happens quickly. Which I just found out in starting exercising myself on the treadmill at home. I would think, oh, well, gee, first day I could only do 5 minutes walking. And now I'm up to 20.
Oh,
yay! So, it's ridiculous how fast that builds up. And the same thing, like you said, with thought processes. The more you do it, the easier it becomes.
Definitely. And congratulations on that. Thanks. I need to get me a treadmill, and I need to, work on this foot. Because I don't want to go out in the unlevel,
Right.
death trap that is the world right now.
Mm-hmm.
But funds are pretty low.
Yeah.
So,
Which, understandably so.
which we have like a GoFundMe thing
I'll make sure
going.
to put the link in the description.
And if you don't want to donate to that, we also, Maddie has a PayPal, so we could use some help with the bills right now. We really appreciate it. But anyway, I actually shilled. Like, actually.
Yes, for reals.
Yeah. So, all right. So she goes on. I have this highlighted because I thought it was very important. How do I release myself from the mother orbit? And that is just a perfect way of putting it. Mother orbit, because everything revolved around mom. Everything, right? It was a mom-centric universe in my childhood. So she said, go ahead.
Oh, I wasn't going to say anything.
Oh, okay. Releasing yourself from orbiting around your mother is the only way to gain true mastery of your life choices and become who you are meant to be. I take my clients through the following 3 steps when they are moving through this stage of development. 1, understand how your mother projects feelings onto you. 2, understanding cope with envy from your mother and others. And 3, eradicate negative internalized messages. So yeah, these are really important, and she goes through them one by one. And she says she defines projection as the best understood, or as best understood as a process by which a person takes her own emotions and sees them as coming from someone else, believing that the other person actually originated these emotions. People do this when they are not dealing with their own pain or inner conflicts and blame other people for their own turmoil. Daughters of narcissistic mothers are generally the scapegoats for their mother's projections, including fragile ego and self-loathing. I don't know about you, but I had a mom that was like, I could have done X, Y, and Z if you weren't here.
Yes.
Oi, don't do that. Jesus. The daughter doesn't understand this hatred and internalizes it, so she feels like she is bad or not good enough. Because this begins for the daughter at such a young age, it feels normal and it feels real.
It really does. Like, and I had no idea that, like, people who weren't brought up in this type of environment didn't just badger themselves to death in their heads. Like, it seems like a foreign concept to me to not do that.
Yeah, that was our normal.
Yeah.
It's just, constant being berated for just stupid shit, too, usually.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, I was once grounded and told I couldn't go to a dance on the day of the dance because I ate the last piece of pizza in the fridge, and I didn't know that mom wanted it after work. After working, making pizzas. Yeah, she made pizzas at the job that she was working at, and she really wanted pizza, so... Yep, and then she made me call my friend and be like, explain to them why you can't come. And the friend, like, I'm so glad it wasn't on speakerphone, because they're like, what?
That's stupid.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, like, stupid shit. Come on.
Yeah. I didn't sweep the floor correctly when I was 7, so obviously that made me a loser and a failure for the rest of my life, according to my mom. So, yeah, I'm never going to be able to do anything right. Yay! I mean, that's the great condemnation to give your 7-year-old kid.
Right?
Boy. Okay, now, next she talks about coping with mother's envy. Daughters of narcissistic mothers commonly feel their mother's envy. It's time to recognize and understand it. Many people believe that to be envied would be a desirable, powerful experience. But in reality, being envied, particularly by one's own mother, is unnerving and awful. The daughter's sense of self is canceled by disdain and criticism. Her goodness is questioned or labeled bad or made light of, which, of course, causes her to feel like her reality as a person is obliterated.
Yes.
As the daughter analyzes what her mother appears jealous about, her looks, achievements, material wealth, weight, personality, friends, husband or boyfriend, or relationship with her father and siblings, she comes to feel unworthy. It makes no sense to the daughter that her own mother would have these bad feelings about her, and therefore she believes something is wrong with her. Like she brought it on herself or something.
Yep.
Ugh.
100%. And yeah, the whole reality, her reality as a person is obliterated. It really is. Like, you're gaslit to believe that what you're experiencing is not what you're experiencing. Like, or is not important, is not happening.
Yeah, it's the whole, things aren't as they appear. There's some kind of nefarious bullshit that you, of course, have instigated because you're an awful human being. According to this envious mother, like, there was a time when my dad and I were pretty close. We would, like, talk about the Bible and all this other junk. And he would say, "Oh, you have a beautiful singing voice," or "Oh, you're able to." He would do it in a horrible way, though. He would be like, "Diane," which is my mom's name, "she's able to cook and you're not."
Ooh.
Just kind of stuff like that. He would fan the flames, and that wasn't, like, my fault. I guess I should have cooked badly. I don't know.
Right. What
Like,
are you supposed to do?
What do you do? Sing off key for a while? I don't know. And she was very envious of this. And this came out, like, when I was older and I started dating. And she would basically she would give me advice, right? Well, you need to break up with them. Like, I wasn't given a ride one day by my boyfriend, and she told me to break up with them. And I did.
Oh boy. It's amazing what we did to please Mom.
Yeah. And every single one of them had, she would berate them to me and flirt with them behind my back.
Oh, jeez. That's so gross.
It happened to Maddie, too.
Oh, boy.
Poor Maddie. It's so weird, right? Boy. Anyways. Let's see. Let's go on to eradicating negative messages. Or did you want to talk about envy some more? Because there's more stuff here. Is there anything you want to address?
The only one, the part that I've highlighted is, I believe what she's talking about, daughters having a difficult time coming to terms with being envied and discussing it. And she said, I believe this is because they don't want to appear arrogant in even thinking that somebody could envy them. And yeah, I had that exact feeling while reading this, and I was like, well, there's nothing for my mother to envy, so that can't be right. But looking back and scrutinizing some of the situations, it did seem like she did envy me and basically would take the shine away from great moments or accomplishments because it wasn't about her.
Right. I see, like, I feel differently about that. I guess when I was younger anyway, I loved the feeling of being arrogant, so, which is weird, I guess, for someone who was raised by a narcissist, but I was trying so hard to be the opposite of everything that my parents were doing to tear me down. So I thought, well, if I'm just, really proud of myself,
yeah,
then, it was silly. But,
yeah, she would say things like, you know, we would have an accomplishment or whatever, and she would say, well, you know, I used to do this or that and was really great at it. And it's like, you know, that just, it's selfish. Like, highly fucking selfish and so narcissistic to do shit like that. And, like, I wish I hadn't given her the power to kind of dull those things that I was just as proud of when it first happened as opposed to after she had her say about it.
Well, you know, you're the only reason the message behind it is the only reason you were able to do that is because me.
Right, yeah.
My mom would try that too. And I would be like, okay, Mom, put on some eyeliner. Because she couldn't do it.
Aw.
I had to do her makeup. Like, okay, well, you do your makeup. And, you know, she'd get mad. It was great. Once a week, big blowout. I'm telling you. Okay. So, yeah, that's definitely, like, a way to just completely tear you down. Ugh. God. All right, so eradicating the negative messages, which is vital, so vital. To rid yourself of negative messages, first think of how you make a wide range of decisions. Do you base your choices on information that you trust? Is it information usually from a reliable source? Do you typically have data that tell you that this source is someone on whom you can rely, someone with credentials to be giving you advice or assistance? Have you generally had a good experience with this person and have been able to trust his or her perceptions, information, and knowledge? Does this reliable source mostly treat you with respect and care about how you feel? Most likely, your answer to each of these questions is yes. I ask you then, is it wise to take those internalized messages from childhood and believe them, since they came from someone who was not authentic, loving, or empathetic, who would not establish an intimate emotional bond with you, who projected her own feelings onto you, as she was not in touch with her own emotions, and who was also envious of you? Why would you allow this person to define who you are? Consider the source.
That's what that line there is what I have highlighted.
Yep, same.
Or I have a note attached to it. I have the rest of it highlighted, but
Basically, I didn't take the highlighter and just go through all of it. I just like put a bracket.
Yeah, all of this, just all of this.
The whole thing.
But yeah, like, I think this is a really beneficial statement that anyone can benefit, like, especially when negative things are being said about you. Like, consider the source. So it's as if someone who doesn't know you from Adam, or if it's somebody who doesn't know you from Adam, why on earth would you cancel out what you know to be true and take their word for things? And the same is true with statements from abusive people. They do not speak the truth and are always looking for a way to manipulate you. So try to avoid those traps that they set. And I try to remember this when negative thoughts come up, as they often do.
Yeah, and one thing that comes to my mind is my mom didn't know me.
Not the true us.
She didn't allow me to be me. To even get to know me. So, bitch, you wrong. Like, seriously, remind yourself of this as you take a pen or go to a computer and identify and record those negative messages. Write them down in one column, and in another column, write about why they simply are not true. In doing so, you are redefining what you believe to be true about yourself. Is it really true, for example, that you're not good enough? Who says? You only have to be good enough for you. And I did this practice. I did it. Did you do it?
Yes.
What do you got?
I only have 4. Like, I'm sure I could add in, like, as time goes on, and if I remember to take it to here. But, like, basically, the first one, you're worthless and can't do anything. Where in reality, I'm not worthless. I have proof that I help people in the best ways that I can, and I strive to be a good person every day. Even though I can't physically do things for people, emotionally I can be there for them and provide support in other ways. Second one, you'll never be a contributing member of society because you are disabled. And the truth, being a contributing member of society is not solely defined by a career. It's adding to society in beneficial ways, and I think my presence and the things I put out into the world hold value even if I'm not working.
They definitely do.
Thank you.
I can contest to that. Or contest.
A set.
What is the word? I can
attest. Is it a test?
A test.
Wow, that took us both a while.
I have the best words. The best words, believe me.
The third one, you're fat and ugly. While I may not be supermodel material, I think I look relatively okay, and even if people think I am ugly, I'm not trying to impress anyone or win competitions with my looks. Greg finds me to be attractive, and that's all that matters to me in that regard. Also, I can express different looks through makeup and really like what I can do with that. It's fun, adds to my confidence levels. Even without makeup, I'm getting better at accepting my looks and knowing that I am okay as I am.
Man, fuck that shit. You're beautiful.
Well, thank you.
Seriously.
Well, you
wow.
too.
That's so mean.
Yeah.
I just... Oh.
Yeah. And then the last one, nobody loves you. If your own mother couldn't love you, what makes you think others can and will? And the truth, I have so many people in my support network that are always there for me and show their love on a daily basis, so this is obviously not true. My family now and my chosen family mean the world to me, and I know I mean a lot to them, even if I didn't to my mother.
I have that same one.
Yeah?
And you know what I put next to it? I love me.
That's a good one, too.
Yeah. So, I only have 3, which is... One of them was that one. I'm counting this as one, and they're from both parents, both of these. One of them is, you're just like your dad, a quote from mom. You're just like your mom, a quote from dad. I put a nice little fuck you next to it. It's fun.
That's
the
a
truth,
good response, though.
The truth is, the abuse cycle is one I intend to break. However, I can do the art the dad does. Some traits that I receive from my parents are helpful, and others aren't. It's more complicated than that. So, yeah, I've got some good traits, I got a few bad traits, but it's not all, I'm not just like either one of my parents. I am a whole new person.
Yes, you are
But thanks for putting me in the box. And one of the ones that really, really got me was, you are so stupid. And I heard this from both parents for years.
God. You are not even close to that.
And I really struggle with this one because I can't think of words, right? And, I'm not, a genius or whatever, but I'm not stupid. I say I may have been naive for quite some time, still am, but I'm far from stupid. So that's a very good practice. Even if you haven't been raised by a narcissist, people, we have a tendency to have beliefs, core beliefs about ourselves that aren't true. So this is a good practice for anyone, really. Just to get down to the bottom of the stuff that, emotionally bothers you. And when you when you think about it, it all derives from a belief that you have about yourself that isn't true, isn't productive, and is hurting you.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's untrue criticism is all it
yeah,
is, and it doesn't improve anything. Like you said, it's not
yeah.
productive at all.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even call it criticism, right? It's just bullying.
True, yeah, it is. It's being
It's
mean.
plain and simple. It's self-bullying because you've internalized it. It may or may not be your fault. It might be something that, you've received from your parents, like we have, or it might be just a belief that you yourself have through your cognitive impairment, which everybody has, by the way. It might be a belief that stems from a cognitive impairment or a, catastrophizing
That's
or
such a
black and
hard word.
it is,
Really is.
or a belief that you've come up with that is too dichotomous, too black and white, too simplistic of an explanation, or kind of like the mom and dad, you're just like your mom and just like your dad thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's more complicated than that.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to kind of sort through it. Well, yeah, maybe, but not entirely, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and overgeneralizing. There's so many cognitive pitfalls that you can fall into, just even if you were raised in a perfect environment that you could be subjected to. So, this is a really good exercise. Do it.
Yes.
Just do it.
And keep doing it. Like,
yes.
And, even if you're not in a place or a position to write these things down, still do the exercise in your head when these things come up. Because that's the only way you're going to change it. You're not going to change it just by hoping it changes.
Yeah, and it's amazing the epiphanies you can have, like when you're thinking and, while you're waiting or while you're driving or whatever, something can just pop in your head sometimes. Because you're alone with yourself and you're able to analyze these things and question in your head, a lot of the beliefs and things that just arise naturally, and you can challenge it. And it's really a cool thing about being a human that we can do. All right. So where are we at?
We're at the separation criteria. So, how do you know when your real self has developed and has separated from orbiting with mother? How do you know when you have successfully uncoupled from maternal dysfunction and are truly standing tall, strong, and able? James Masterson, in The Search for the Real Self, describes the key capacities of the real self. I've interpreted for daughters below. So the first one is the capacity to experience a wide range of feelings deeply with liveliness, joy, vigor, excitement, and spontaneity. You allow yourself to feel your authentic feelings and do not create barriers to numb the full gamut of human emotion. You allow yourself to express these feelings in appropriate ways. It's one thing that I have an issue with in reacting to gifts, because we were always told to not be too excited, like to not act super excited about one person's gift because then the other people will feel like they didn't do a good job. And we also weren't supposed to act bummed which is a good thing when you're receiving gifts, but so to this day I just am like, okay, how do I react to this? Thank you.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
It leaves you in a state of confusion about how to act. That is the one thing that really jumps out at me as someone who has lived with depression the majority of my life. Is a lot of times it's just so difficult to do this. It just is. And if you're suffering from feeling joy or you feel hopeless or anything like that, get some help. There is help out there. I imagine that a lot of us are going through that as well.
Especially now, yeah.
Yeah, depression is hitting hard right now. And you're not alone, y'all.
No, you're
Definitely not alone in that.
And my DMs are open on Twitter. If anyone needs to chat, just hit me up, and I'll do what I can.
Same. Even if it's just, just a chat, or, to get your mind off of things, or if you feel like ranting or whatever. But yeah, just don't get butthurt if I disagree with you. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
If I say, oh no, you're full of shit, you're not ugly, you're beautiful, you're gonna have to take it, okay? I'm gonna be honest with you, that's just... Oh.
So the second one, the capacity to expect appropriate entitlements. You believe in yourself, and you are no longer filled with the angst of self-doubt, so you are freely giving credit to yourself where credit is due. That's another hard one. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, a lot of people will feel like they just never can do enough. Especially if you're raised by a narcissist. And because it never was enough. There was never any acceptance. There was never any praise or anything like that. So, yeah, this is a really tough one. But definitely give yourself some credit.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, Tomoko agrees.
Did you hear that?
Yes. Self-activation.
Okay, thank you. I was like, where are we?
Yeah, I was doing the same thing and I found it.
The capacity for self-activation and assertion. You can identify your dreams and desires and are able to set out to accomplish them while believing that you can do it. The acknowledgement of self-esteem. You now believe that you are worthy and can validate yourself regardless of external worldly approval.
Oh, that's tough for anyone.
Yep. It really is. We live in a society. The ability to soothe painful feelings. When life creates painful situations, you can comfort yourself, not wallow in misery, and can find solutions.
But I'm only happy when it rains.
I'm only happy when it rains.
When it's complicated. And I know you can't appreciate it.
The ability to make and stick to commitments. When decisions are right for you, you can stick to your guns and overcome obstacles, criticism, and setbacks.
Not actual guns, just...
Yeah, no, not real guns, no. Please. Creativity. You can find solutions to problems and be resourceful, and also replace and diffuse negatives with positives.
Oh, that's important.
Intimacy. You can express yourself fully and honestly in a close relationship with another person with minimal anxiety about abandonment or engulfment. You can create emotional intimacy without fear or anxiety about being abandoned or swallowed up. I have troubles with this one sometimes.
Me too. Especially like in my 20s. This was like the number one problem I had and continue to have. It took some real heartache to mostly get over this. I still have some reservations, like when I have to address an issue in a relationship.
Yeah, I get real nervous. Especially being with somebody who doesn't like do the whole touchy-feely emotions thing. Craig has ADHD, and that he's very fact-based and kind of like Evans. Like the discussion of emotions comes up, and they're like, no.
Yeah.
But I'm way better at it than it used to be, especially if it's something that I know is creating an issue. If it's something that I know is irritating me or pissing me off, I know it's only going to get worse, and more things are going to add to that if I don't bring it up.
Yeah. That's part of self-care,
Mm-hmm.
definitely.
Then the ability to be alone. You can enjoy a relationship with yourself, be alone, and find meaning within. Which now I can, but that was another one I struggled with a lot.
I was alone for most of my childhood.
Right.
So it's kind of like I'm really good at it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also it's kind of the opposite thing, I guess. Like I had to learn how to be around people
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then be alone.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like I had to relearn it. And it was really weird, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's a struggle. It's a real struggle.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, continuity of self. Your inner core is real and remains the same through the trials and tribulations of life and throughout the aging process. And she said, you may be thinking, sounds good, but I can never get there. Which I felt throughout this book a lot. Oh, well, that sounds great, but yeah. The remaining chapters will assist you in accomplishing all of the above. Remember, however, that recovery is lifelong work, and you cannot accomplish all of them at once. And then she has some stories or examples of women who have individuated from their mothers to kind of, that you can read. I'll leave those up on Scream. On Scream?
On Scream, right. Holy shit. But, like, we're here and we're giving our experiences, so mm-hmm. It's kind of like, yeah, and we've kind of talked about with each one how we struggled, so I think that should suffice. And, buy the book. The book is really, really worthwhile.
And link is in the description.
I have read the first part of it twice. Mm-hmm. I'm just now going through this last part of it for the first time, and it's been quite a journey. And it's been worth it. It's been tough, but it's been worth it.
Oh yeah,
examining this stuff and remembering things that are just mm-hmm. really hard to look at, but at the same time need to address, because like Casey said, it is a lifelong process. Yep. So it's something to have on the shelf for
to read to go many times.
Go back over and assess yourself and how you're feeling, and check in. Mm-hmm. Check in with yourself. You're worth that effort. Mm-hmm. And I say that often because I struggle with that.
Yeah.
I struggle with why am I doing this? Is it worth the effort? Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. I am worth the effort it takes to heal. Mm-hmm. Regardless of how difficult and excruciatingly painful it can be.
Exactly. Yeah.
But to be honest, the pain of living with these problems is way worse than the pain that I experience with the waterfalls mm-hmm. that sometimes spontaneously occur when I'm contemplating this stuff that's in the book. But yeah, it's definitely worth it. I feel like I have been able to address some issues just from the time that I got this book. So it's definitely worth picking up.
Yes, it really is. And going over. Yep. And this series I'm always going to leave up, so you can always go back and rewatch it and do what you need to.
As you're reading the book,
mm-hmm.
that would be really good. It could be like our own little group session kind of thing. So definitely buy the book and buy my art.
Yes.
Got the vagina tree painting. Mm-hmm. Teton and stuff. I'm working on some other things. I've got for my friend Trey. Hi Trey, if you're watching, you probably aren't. I know you're in the other room, so you probably hear me.
Hi, Tran.
But I got this really neat pad that you can draw on the computer, and it's been so much fun to play with. I'm still like getting used to it because I'm just so used to, you know, pencil and paint and stuff like that. And that even took me a while to adjust. So, but I'm having fun. I can do all kinds of. I can do all kinds of effects with it, and it's kind of like, oh my god, I've got so many ideas that I can't even pinpoint which idea I want to go with first.
That's fun.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, definitely check out all of Snarky's links in the description. The stoicism videos on her channel are very much worth it. I'm a big fan. And the rest of her stuff too. But stoicism has, like, kind of helped me in the whole, you know, coming to terms with what you can and cannot control.
Definitely.
So
it's good for that. Of all the videos I've done, I would say that my stoic videos are the ones I'm most proud of. Because, you know, they're serious, right? Usually my stuff is kind of silly, I guess. But those are very serious and very important for people to dive into. And if you want to know more about stoicism, there are some wonderful channels out there. I would recommend Dr. Gregory Sadler's channel, because he goes over the material in a way that's very comprehensive, and he does it for a living. He's a philosophy professor. So there's that, and there's also the Daily Stoic, and there's all kinds of wonderful resources out there. I can't think of very many right now, but because for some reason today I'm really blah. But that should be a good start, and from there you can also get more resources. So it's really helpful. I don't agree with a lot of the metaphysics, right? But at the same time, there is useful philosophy in there that can really help anyone who is alive as a human being in this world that has to struggle through, you know, the stressors of life to get through them in a way that's healthy. So definitely check it out. I will shut up now.
No, you're fine. It's the shill portion.
Yeah. Shilly.
But yeah, links, as always, are in the description. And I will be getting back to gaming on my channel.
Yay!
So look forward to that.
You're starting a new game, aren't you?
Yeah, it's going to be The Park, which is like a horror set in a theme park, like with roller coasters and stuff, so.
Oh, those are scary enough for me as it is. Never been on a roller coaster, never will be.
Oh, I loved them.
Oh, you're really crazy.
No, yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, that ship has sailed.
I would vomit and scream and then pee my pants. There's no way.
Well, who's to say I didn't do that and liked it anyway? No, I didn't. The only thing I didn't like were the straight down drops. I hated those.
Yeah.
I was terrified of those.
Well,
earthquake.
Yeah. See, the earth is quaking in its boots just thinking about those straight downs.
I really gotta, like, figure out a way to situate this tripod so it's not, like, that I'm not kicking it all the time.
Yeah, you need to do, like, one of those little arms that hook onto your desk.
Oh, yeah.
Put it on.
I could do that.
Yeah. Amazon wish list, y'all.
Ah, yes. That.
That's a thing.
But, yeah, thanks, y'all, for being here. And stick around for the bloopers. There's a couple, at least. And a whole...
No ding-dong.
No ding-dong, no. Sadly, stupid UPS man.
Ding-dong!
Ding-dong!
We made our own.
Right? Should go text Greg and be like, can you go ring the doorbell?
Right? We could have done that. Why didn't we do that?
I don't, because he's probably sleeping.
Oh.
He's been so tired during the day.
Oh, poor Greg. Same.
Yeah.
Naps are heaven.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they are. But yeah, join us next week. We're doing Chapter 12, Becoming the Woman I Truly Am, Deserving Daughter. So, yeah.
It'll make you feel like a woman.
Oh! I sang that song in karaoke so many times.
Oh, man.
I feel like a woman. Yes. But yeah, thanks for being here. Hopefully I don't screw up my outro again. Just remember, life can be shit, which it is right now. So let's get through it together. Keep hanging in there with hashtag and Missus Snarky.
Yay!
Yay, we did it. Bye! Mwah. Test recording.
All righty then. Yeah, I'm kind of weird test recording thing.
Hey, it all works.
Yay!
We're all weird. I'm kind of blah today.
It's a blah day. It's been a blah week.
Yeah, it has been.
Oh, speaking of lovely people, let's talk about Mom.
Oh yeah, we should probably do an intro.
Oh yeah, intro time. Don't forget the outro too.
I know, yeah. It's logged up here. Hopefully it'll, kick in when we get there. But, yeah.
Oh yeah, I should probably do that. I am centered.
Yeah, Greg played some games in here, so the chair was all like, the height's off, like I'm still lower than I should be, but it's really hard for me to adjust the height in this chair.
Is it?
Yeah. It's just a big chair.
Yeah.
But you have to reach like super far under, like I have to be here to even reach the little like handle thing.
Usually they have it to where it sticks out pretty far and you reach it.
Yeah, that's what I'm used to. But no.
Weird.
Not too fun.
My splash guard is all out of whack. There we go. I know it's a pop filter, but I like to call it a splash guard.
Well, I mean, you call it what it is, right? If mine was closer, it would be a splash guard, but it's a little far away. If I'm spinning that far, there's something wrong.
Yay. I talk too much.
No, you don't. Not at all. Also, like, I don't know why, but it keeps switching the camera to me when I'm not talking, and it's really confusing. It's like I'll just be sitting here not saying anything. It's a ghost!
Oh my god. I hope it's not the ghosts of our mothers.
Right?
Oh my god.
That would suck.
What would they talk about? Oh Jesus.
How much their daughters suck. That's pretty much.
Well, I mean, they would define this conversation of critique of them as us just plainly saying that they suck.
Bitching, yeah.
Complaining. They say we suck, so they suck.
Right.
But,
I'm not sure what's going on. A while ago, the UPS truck went through, but it was going in the opposite direction that it goes, typically.
Oh,
so
what's going to happen?
Stay
tuned.
I don't know.
See what the obstruct does.
What does this mean? My whole day is thrown off now.
Yeah, all I'm saying is, as long as we get a ding dong, it's gonna be okay. And even if we don't get a ding dong, we can ding dong ourselves.
Yes. Giggity.
Yeah.
She just got up to move to her sun perch. She has to announce when she's moving, and I'm anywhere near her, so.
Oh.
Just the thing she does.
Very polite of her.
I'm getting up now, Mom.
That's high society manners right there. She needs her own channel.
She does, yes. Of course, it would just consist of, like, sleeping and meowing and eating treats.
I mean, I don't see a problem with this.
Where's the problem?
And? Oh my gosh, there was this video last night that I saw of this cat that looks so much like Tomoko, maybe a little fluffier.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but there was like these little bulbs, I guess, the little plastic bulbs that were on top of this counter or something, and they would just knock them off one by one. And then lay there with their little paws dangling over the surface like, I did it. Oh,
I did that.
I meant to send it to you, but I couldn't get it to work.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sad.
I'll see about sending it to you later.
And that'd be cute. She rarely does the whole knock things off, but when she does, she stares right at you. Like, we had the screwdriver out in the living room on a stand that we have, and it was from putting the treadmill together. We just hadn't put it back in the tool thing, and all of a sudden I hear this, like, scratching, like something is sliding around, and I look over and I was like, don't you dare knock that off. And she just did clunk. Like, there's just this loud noise, and that was it. She went on with her day at that point then. But
that is great. Y'all should have known better not to put that there. It does not belong there.
What is this? Oh, it's loud. Let's knock it off.
Yes, that will be satisfying.
Yeah, she doesn't do that very often, which is weird.
I had a cat that would steal your straw.
What?
Yeah, if you came home, and I did pretty much every night. I worked at a restaurant. I worked at Jack in the Box, which is, I guess, calling it a restaurant is stretching it a little bit. But anyway, so I come home with my soda, with my Coke, and I'd set it down, and I'd have to watch it because her name was Missy. Missy would creep up and sneak it. She knew that she wasn't supposed to have. She would sneak it, and then she'd take the straw and she'd go down the hallway and play with it.
Oh, that's great.
It was amazing.
Tomoko's favorite toys now are the broken hair ties. You know how the ones without the metal clips will break sometimes? I just give those to her, and now that's all she'll play with. Like, I have bought so many toys. She has little mice toys. She has, like, little catnip toys. She has scratchers, and she'll scratch on them. But, yeah, the only thing she'll play with now are the hair ties. I'm like,
so
why do I buy you shit? Like,
it's so funny because when we were able to have the cats in the house, Ginger loved the hair ties, not broken, just the hair ties, and you couldn't set one down because they would just. And she taught Squirrel, her son, this, and he was adamant, right? I had like this box, that I keep them in, and they could easily get it open, and they would be strewn all around the house.
oh God.
So I ended up putting them in a shoe box that would close in a way that it was difficult to open. It had the little flaps that tucked in and stuff like that. Squirrel bit through that thing. to get to the hair ties, paw them out.
Well, I mean, if it was an actual squirrel, they would have done the same thing too, so just living up to his namesake, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, if they were nuts, I could see, maybe.
That's true, yeah.
But these are just little hair ties. It's just, oh. And I gave them toys, and they even had hair ties that I let them have.
Mm-hmm.
So they, whew, wow. Cats are weird.
Oh my god. But they're great.
Yeah, I imagine this is going on the blooper reel.
Yeah, probably.
Bloop bloop, y'all.
Right.
Bloopity bloop.
We have kitties discussion. We need it after this.
We do. And in the middle of this.
Yes. Exactly, which is where all the bloopers happen.
Hell yeah.
I don't know if I can...
You did it, and you didn't even have to use a sticky note.
Right? Yeah. I should have. I should have that here, but...
You'll think of it sometime in the future once you have it already memorized.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Then I'll be like, oh, maybe I should put a note here. I don't know.